You're listening to eCommerce Fastlane, episode 44.
Welcome to eCommerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, launch, grow, and scale a wildly successful e-commerce company. Listen to real conversations with proven practical strategies and success stories. Learn how to generate more traffic, more sales, more profit, and customer lifetime value for your Shopify store. And now, your host and e-commerce entrepreneur, Steve Hutt.
This episode is brought to you by OmniSend, makers of sophisticated omni-channel marketing automation tools for sales-driven Shopify brands and marketers that have outgrown generic email marketing platforms. Engage your customers and boost your e-commerce sales with dynamic emails, text messages, web push notifications, Facebook Messenger, and retargeting ads on Google and Facebook. So it's much more than just email marketing. They handle all of your marketing activities across multiple channels, all from within one platform. They have single-click Shopify integration, which also includes email templates and automatic product import from Shopify. Super easy migration from any other email solution that you might be currently using. And right now, OmniSend is offering a 14-day free trial for all of my listeners, which also includes 50% off for the first 3 months. So check them out, ecommercefastlane.com/OmniSend, and use the coupon code FASTLANE when you sign up. Hey there, it's Steve, and welcome back to the eCommerce Fastlane podcast. Now, if this is your first time listening, this is an e-commerce show where we have honest and transparent conversations about building and thriving online with your store powered by Shopify or Shopify Plus. Now, new episodes are available each week with your favorite podcast player through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, or you can sign up online at ecommercefastlane.com and be notified when a new show is being released. Today, I'm chatting with Aidan Matrick from Pixel Union, and they're a triple threat when it comes to Shopify partners. You know, they're one of the top premium theme developers. They're a Shopify agency partner, and they've helped design and launch thousands of digital brands. And they're also a Shopify app partner with 6 apps in the Shopify App Store, one of which we're going to chat about today, and it's called Wholesale Club. He's going to talk about Wholesale and some of the challenges that Shopify brands can experience when making a decision to offer their products to wholesalers and distributors, and who end up then retailing that product to the end consumer. And according to a 2019 e-commerce market report, sales transactions in the United States processed through B2B e-commerce sites like Shopify, login portals, or even online marketplaces, it grew by 11% in 2018 to reach over $1 trillion in transactions online through e-commerce B2B stores. And 50% of the total B2B transactions, which is over $7.5 trillion, are still conducted manually by account managers and sales reps, believe it or not. But much of these sales now are moving to e-commerce sites. The new reality is that buyers are seeking the convenience of going to an e-commerce site and making their wholesale purchase, like literally in their underwear. And more sellers are seeing this as a way to reach more customers and process more sales orders and literally just operate more cost efficiently. This is a great discussion to learn about how selling wholesale on Shopify just got a whole lot easier with the Wholesale Club app. So let's jump into the show. Hi, Aidan, and welcome to eCommerce Fastlane.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
It's an exciting time because I hear and I know I talk to lots of merchants and lots of brands, and the wholesale conversation comes up quite a bit. And there's a lot of ways of doing wholesale, but I think there's lots and lots of pitfalls. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show today, because you have a very compelling solution that lots of Shopify Core and Shopify Plus merchants are using. And I wanted to make sure that we, shared to the audience that, there's an opportunity out there, and a lot of money, I think, is being left on the table. If wholesale is right for your business, I wanted to make sure that we have an opportunity to educate the market about if wholesale is right and how to do it and the pitfalls. And just depending on your maturity level, I think we're going to talk about lots of interesting topics today. And once and for all, give clarity, the benefits, of wholesale. So let's talk about the Wholesale Club app more on a high level first. I'm sure we're going to dig into it for sure. But what problem, from your point of view, what does it solve for Shopify store owners or brands?
Well, It makes it simple and easy to sell wholesale on Shopify. If you've ever tried to add wholesale pricing in your Shopify store, you know there's no straightforward solution at the moment, especially for merchants who aren't on Plus. Currently, if you want to sell wholesale, you have three options. You can use discount codes, you can open a separate wholesale store, or you can install an app. Our app is easy to use and lets you offer wholesale pricing without having to open an additional Shopify store.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those topics come up quite a bit. There's those kind of options out there, and sometimes they're not great options either sometimes, because let's say if it's a separate store, then there's conversations about, well, how does analytics fit into all of this? And then like, is this a separate entity or is it part of the overall scope of my business? And it can get kind of muddy a bit. And I think that's, I guess, one of the compelling reasons why having Wholesale Club as a dedicated app running on your instance, your B2C instance, and then not having to worry about discount codes and there's it can get quite convoluted. So I'm glad that you're out there trying to solve that problem. There's a few apps out there that do it, but I think you do it quite well. And that's why I want to dig into it today. So tell me a bit about, I guess, you and kind of your entrepreneurial journey at Pixel Union, which is the main company that's a part of the Wholesale Club. And let's talk about that company and now the launch of the Wholesale Club app.
Sure. I worked at a couple of startups before joining Pixel Union. There was overlap between the last startup I was at and Pixel Union. I joined in 2017 when we were about 50 people. We've grown a lot since then. We're now over 100 employees.
Wow.
It's been an awesome experience.
I bet.
Our story is that we started out as a theme provider and then began offering apps in full-scale custom design and development. Right now, we're the only 360 Shopify Plus partner involved in themes, apps, and custom services. A little bit more about Wholesale Club. We acquired it about a year ago. Since then, we spent a lot of time redesigning it and improving its performance to meet our standards. Looking forward, we're focused on adding more functionality to the app now that we've shored those things up.
Yeah, I've noticed from the original owner and the developer of the app, and then when the acquisition happened, obviously the app just kind of maintained its name and kind of did its thing, but there was lots of work from a user experience and performance standpoint going on in the background. And then with the official kind of public release of a rebranded product, the user experience and the performance is significantly improved. So kudos to the team that's put this together. It's really, I guess the original code base was a good starting point, but then just getting to market much quicker with your user experience makes sense. I know Pixel Union, just as a side note, a few different developers, theme developers and app developers out there that I personally recommend, and Pixel Union is one of my top three for creating, I guess, the most compelling. I see some of the largest brands on Shopify have made the choice to use Pixel Union themes for a lot of reasons, just the quality of them and the thoughtfulness and the consistently updating of these themes. And so I just want to throw the kudos out to the team that you're involved with. That's what I'm doing. I know lots of people inside and outside Shopify have definitely recommended Pixel Union themes for years. And so it's great to see you make a little bit of a pivot now into, and well, you've done the professional services for quite a while, but now also getting into the app world with Wholesale. So let's talk a little bit about the whole concept of wholesale pricing to merchants who, I guess, are more kind of unfamiliar with it. I mean, if you have a store right now, you're definitely doing B2C, so business to consumer. But let's talk about the business to business. Can you kind of explain that market for people that may not know?
Wholesaling is essentially selling products in large quantities at lower than normal prices to certain retailers who can then resell those products for a higher price. Because you're dealing with these retailers, it's not a B2C transaction where you're selling to individual consumers. Rather, you're selling to these retailers who are then going to be an extension of your supply chain.
So I did mention at the top of the show about just the size of the market. I mean, I did some quick research before we started recording today through Gartner and a few other online stat companies. And, they're talking about, the size of the B2C market. So the business to consumer market is, worldwide is more than $3 trillion. And whereas the B2B market is over $8 trillion for, I think, the end of 2018. So knowing that, just numbers alone, the B2B business is literally 3 times the size of the B2C market. And so I find that compelling and interesting. So other than that stat, and that the market opportunity for sure is there, but can we talk about why a merchant may want to consider to get involved in wholesaling?
The main thing I'd point to is you're dealing with businesses, not consumers. And it's dealing with businesses is what makes it so different than other retail channels. When you're dealing with these businesses, you're able to outsource a lot of the processes and labor that you would have normally had to handle yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're talking about the fulfillment part of it and the customer service part of it. If you're selling, 500 of a certain SKU to a wholesaler, you can literally package up a couple skids and out it goes. And that's their opportunity for the end consumer fulfillment in store or online or however they're doing it. I guess that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's the core aspect. I'd say there's other things as well. So beyond just making it easier to reach more customers, these partners are an extension of other efforts as well, particularly marketing. So you don't need to spend as much time and money finding customers. Your wholesale partners are going to do that for you. Instead of having you and your team drive these efforts, you now have multiple teams driving these efforts. And this includes other things as well. You can observe different strategies. Pricing is one of those. You can take the best of what you see and apply it to your business. It's cliche, but with wholesaling, I think your customers are your greatest asset.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it, breaking out into other markets and stuff. There's only so much work you can do, as a retailer, getting the word out about your product. But, imagine if you're able to have other people selling it online and or getting into retail, because a lot of people are still doing showrooming. And, if your product is available in traditional retail, but they just, are thinking about it or it's new to them, people are carrying their phones with them all the time. So they're then going, online to the original retailer just to see if the price is right or read reviews online on your website. So it sounds like there's a lot of discoverability that can happen. So you sell to multiple wholesalers, it gets it out in traditional retail and other online properties to build a larger, almost a moat around your brand to a certain degree. And then there's more discoverability, and hopefully they're going to buying from those retailers online or in store. But if not, there's got to be a residual effect back to the source. What's your take on that?
I completely agree. The thing that comes to mind is higher order value. As we've touched on, instead of dealing exclusively with end consumers, a B2C transaction, you're achieving similar revenues with a fraction of customers because they're B2B. One recent study found that the average order value for B2C was around $147. B2B, it was $491. So they're great customers to have. And compared to B2C, they're much stickier. So they have a much higher retention rate, which means for you, you get more reoccurring revenue and, again, less additional ad spend to incentivize them to become repeat customers.
So let's talk about the pricing strategies. I think that's important. Margin is obviously going to be lower. You have to sell, you're selling at retail as the brand owner, but at wholesale pricing it could be 10 to 50 to 80% off. And it really depends on the industry that you're involved in and your current kind of retail margins that you have. So how does somebody go about creating a wholesale pricing strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. First thing, you have to make sure it's right for your business because it's not for everyone. The key issue that I would focus on is sustainable margins. And this is one of the reasons why it can be a lot easier to succeed as a manufacturer as opposed to if you're sourcing from a supplier. Pricing also plays into this. You need to figure out how to ensure your retailers are able to capture enough value to make it worth their while. On the other hand, you also need to ensure that you're turning a profit. One way we advise merchants do this is to figure out how they can set minimum order quantities, which your retailers need to meet in order to be able to make a wholesale purchase. Most importantly, though, I'd say is figuring out the demand component, finding enough customers to make your strategy sustainable.
Yeah, that's a good pivot because I think the customers are part of it. I'm always concerned that launching a B2B business or, a part of your brand. So you're running retail, you decide that, yeah, wholesale is right for you. And and I think people are under the misconception that if you literally turn on an app or choose a separate store, or, if you're on Shopify Plus and you're choosing to use the wholesale sales channel app that's available, they think that the customers are just going to magically show up, these wholesale customers. And I believe that's not true. They won't just come. So do you have any tips that you could kind of share with us about how a retailer can find more wholesale customers?
Great point, Steve. It's not the field of dreams.
Yeah.
If you build it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will come.
Yeah.
There are two strategies we have that we recommend to our merchants is have an inbound approach and have an outbound approach. From an inbound perspective, you want to make sure that your site has a call to action that solicits prospective wholesalers. This helps too with SEO. If prospective wholesalers are looking or wholesale customers are looking for a prospective wholesaler, they can easily or more easily find you. From an outbound perspective, reach out to retailers that have an established presence in your field. One way that we've seen have success is going to trade shows and pop-up markets and reaching out personally to those merchants and making a face-to-face connection. We've seen that have a great success rate.
Yeah, I could see that, and I'm sure every market the listeners are involved in, there's going to be trade shows and some events available to share, what it is that you sell to other people that are looking to buy in wholesale. And so, yeah, I think getting out there and pounding the pavement a bit and really exposing your brand. I love the idea of having a dedicated link in the navigation somewhere, bare minimum on the footer, that has wholesale, and you click on it and talks about the wholesale program that is available, and how to sign up and the benefits of it. And yeah, you're right. I think people looking for that sort of thing. And then I would agree. Imagine the SEO value that comes out of, let's say you're selling shoes, men's shoes, for example, or men's dress shoes. And so someone may type into Google men's dress shoe wholesaler. And then all of a sudden there's going to be a certain range of SEO keywords that are important that you could build into that landing page, and think about the inbound link strategy of that particular landing page for the products that you sell, trying to organically find wholesalers. So that's a very compelling offer and a great way of doing it. So let's talk about, I'm sure some merchants will have some trouble for sure finding established wholesalers. Is there any kind of little tricks or tips that you kind of learned along the way about how to find some really good established wholesalers?
Yeah, something we've seen have success with prospective wholesale customers who are on the fence is offering net payment terms. Net payment terms are terms that would allow the wholesale customer to purchase the goods, sell them, and then pay you.
Right.
In this way, your potential customers who don't have enough pre-existing capital or are unsure about your product are more likely to give you a shot.
Yeah, I can see that, for sure. And I think Shopify, and I know your app too, has that opportunity as, as method of payment. You can select net terms, and the order can still be processed online. It's sitting, as a draft order, kind of ready to go. Accounting can choose how they want to fulfill the order, and then the associated follow-up of payment for that. Sometimes it's a partial payment, 50% now and 50, in 30 days, or then as relationships get built, you can, have an accounting process to be able to manage that.
Exactly. There's a lot of flexibility with net payment terms. As you mentioned, you can have a deposit, no deposit, and you can as well figure out what time frame you want to deal in. Different industries might have different time frames, as well as the size of your retailer. Are they a wholesale customer, or are they someone who's a large scale retailer? That plays into it as well.
Yeah, definitely. So this show has, a pretty diverse range of listeners. We have a lot of, early stage and mid-market, and quite a few enterprise Shopify Plus brands are listening to the show each week. So if you were giving some advice, let's start with the early stage e-commerce entrepreneurs. If you're going to give advice about, wholesale, overall building a brand, what would it be for those early stage customers?
The first thing I'd say is you need to establish a strong value proposition. The question that comes up a lot is why you and not Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that you really have to answer in today's e-commerce world, which is getting more and more saturated. The second thing I'd point to is there's a great book called Lean Startup. I'd recommend any e-commerce entrepreneur who's at an early stage or even at a later stage read it. But the focus is build, measure, and learn. So test everything, lots. Test your store layout, test your ads, test your product descriptions, test your photos. Figure out what has the best value and is going to be most successful for you and your store. Building on that, I'd focus on your customers, but learn from your competition. When you're starting to develop that product market fit, really try and index on the commonalities between your customers, why they're coming to your store, and drill down on that. Not to say you shouldn't observe and learn from your competition, but focus on your customers, especially as you grow. The last thing I'd say, which is something that I see a lot, really focus on creating a legitimate shopping experience. Study larger companies, Fortune 500 brands. Look at how they're running sales. Look at how they're handling store design. Look at how they're handling email capture and pop-ups. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And they have entire departments that are dedicated to just optimizing their e-commerce experience. So I'd say learn what you can from the masters and save yourself as much time as possible.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Great advice. I think so. Just to kind of summarize that, the key is testing and having a great theme, if it's Pixel Union or not, but just starting with a great theme as a starting point for kind of the look and feel, but have a brand story and have a value proposition and have unique products, and make sure overall you have a great user experience. Are you following up with cart abandonments? Are you sending emails out to customers to let them know that their order is shipped? Do you have live chat on your website? Do you, there's a whole range pre and post purchase kind of follow-ups that I think are key to an overall brand experience, and you think about this is like, great, they've, shopped once on your website, but what about the second order or the third order? We always talk about lifetime value, and you hate to say it's easy to acquire the first customer through paid acquisition, but it gets costly having to always pay money to acquire new customers. And now that you have a customer, I would give that as advice too, to add on to what you've said, is that, what are you doing to continually maintain that relationship? And this is, applicable in the wholesale market too. Maybe you have a wholesale newsletter that goes out, or maybe you offer, if you're offering retail promotions, why can't you offer wholesale promotions? And just continually having a drip sequence through email to your best kind of wholesale customers to let them know that there are promotions available, that you appreciate their business. How are things going with them? You're going to conferences, you'd love to meet up in person in real life. And there's lots of ways of building a relationship and building a brand, no matter your size. You can still look at the big boys and see what they're up to, but you got to kind of forge your own path also based on some best practices that we've both shared here today. So it's really good feedback.
Thanks, Steve. I completely agree. And I think it applies when you're early stage, but also as you continue to grow, really understanding your customers becomes even more important.
So let's dig into that then. So how about people in the mid-market then? So let's say they have a small team, they're eager to kind of grow and scale like a lot of brands are. What should the executive team or the marketing team, what should they be working on in your opinion?
The first thing I'd say is you have product market fit. Index on your customers and improve with regard to them. Speak with them. Identify the pain points in your shopping experience. Figure out where there's room for improvement. Work on getting them all to be promoters instead of passives, or even worse, detractors. Building on that, work on getting great margins. Now you can focus on refining your supply chain management. Tinker with pricing. Figure out how you're optimizing for value there. The most important thing I'd say, though, is you're going to have to learn how to scale personally and professionally. Things that got you here won't necessarily get you there. So you're going to need to learn what it takes to really manage a team successfully. If you were more of a generalist and now you're getting into more of a specialized role, really learn how to grow in that role. And for things that your team isn't really good at, outsource. Find someone who's better at it, especially if there isn't interest on your team in learning and developing that skill. There's a lot of sites. Fiverr is one that comes to mind, but there's plenty of resources if you're looking for more specialized tasks, such as something like writing effective product descriptions or figuring out how you can take your photography to the next level.
Yeah, and there's also, as far as development is concerned too, I do agree with you about doubling down your strengths and outsource the rest. I mean, we all have weaknesses, both internally and professionally, but there's not a lot of time to be focusing on your weaknesses or things you want to get better at. Just double down on those strengths that you do have and get even better at those. Outsource all the rest of the things. So if it's, if it's a developer that you require, I mean, there's places like StoreTasker. There's just so many different places that you can go that are, Shopify approved developers. I mean, even Pixel Union has an opportunity for getting work done professionally. So, totally with you on it. I think you're right on the money when it comes to being specific about how to, build out understanding margins and trying to build almost a tribe of people that are really passionate behind the brand, influential people, or build influencers around your brand. So, and those could be wholesale people too. Remember, it's not just the retail people. A lot of people travel in the same circuit that are professional people that are in the same industry. And, if they sell the product, they, are going to lean on other people and saying, hey, are you having good luck with this product? Yes, I am. Okay, great. They're non-competitive in their own markets. They're more apt to want to recommend your product. So it's building that kind of relationship and getting these promoters in there and not these, detractors, as you call them, or passive people that are actively promoting it. Let's make another little pivot to talking about maybe the future of Wholesale Club. Because I think, if a brand is going to make a decision that, no, I don't want to have a dedicated store. I'm a Shopify Plus and I've chosen to not use the Wholesale app, sales channel app that's available. And I don't want to use coupon codes. We've kind of gone through down that kind of vetting process. And yes, having a B2C user experience, but in the B2B world. So offering VIP pricing and tiered pricing and payment checkout flow that's all very unique to the B2B market. Can we talk about what Wholesale Club is currently, and then maybe what does the roadmap look like for 2019? Like, are you aligning yourself with any partners, or are you helping any currently Shopify brands? I just want to get a feeling of like how Wholesale Club is positioning itself this year and then into 2020.
The soonest thing that's going to be coming out is we have been working on integrating Wholesale with a new theme. This is called Superstore. What we did is we took Empire, made it better, and we designed it specifically for wholesalers. So there is this common market problem of wholesalers who want to open up a specific store for wholesale, and they do really want to keep things separate at this point, partially because they have the people power to do so. So we've created this theme plus app experience that has been built specifically for those merchants. Superstore is one thing that we have that's imminently ready for release. Looking at the app specifically, we recently finished a design overhaul using the Polaris components that Shopify has been promoting. Looking ahead, one of the things we're really focusing on is improving the onboarding process for our app. And incrementally along the way, while we're doing that, we're working on adding more features that our wholesale merchants have requested to help them better serve their wholesale customers. This includes things like improving the user experience for our custom prices feature to make it easier for those really large volume stores to sift through tons and tons of SKUs. And for instance, adding more functionality to our volume discounts to allow our wholesale merchants to get really granular with how they want to incentivize their customers to spend more.
So why is the Wholesale Club a compelling solution then for selling wholesale on Shopify?
Wholesale pricing means a lot of different things to different people. It can be bulk pricing, it can be tiered pricing, net payments. We are a robust solution that does it all. We offer tiered pricing, which is the ability to set different discounts for different groups and have those discounts only be available to those groups. For every wholesale customer, we allow them to better visualize the discount they're receiving. This means we display the original retail price that has been crossed out next to the discounted price they're receiving. They also see this discount in the cart. Our solution is reliable and stable. We don't use duplicate product variants. So you don't have to worry about anyone other than eligible wholesale customers seeing your wholesale discounts online. We offer minimums and volume discounts down to a high level of granularity. We briefly touched on this earlier, but minimums enforce a certain product quantity or value in order to check out, so setting the floor. And volume discounts help incentivize merchants to purchase more with additional discounts. So how do you raise the ceiling? Also, for those returning wholesale customers, we have a quick order form. This feature displays all of your products in a single page in a spreadsheet-like format. So this allows your repeat customers to quickly input quantities and check out. Net payments, we talked about that earlier. Another thing is we also offer point of sale functionality. If you're a merchant out there that has a physical presence as well as an online presence, this means that you can set offers for either point of sale or online, or both.
I can see the trade show opportunity being big, though, because quite a few brands and merchants that I'm involved with, they show up to a trade show. They're either running a dedicated instance of Shopify, load the inventory accordingly for that particular show. They're just selling through what they have, and with a POS instance. But you're suggesting that the Wholesale Club as an app, they can literally show up to a trade show, and then there is some enhanced kind of POS functionality wholesale wise built into the solution?
Good question. For those merchants who are looking to run an instance of wholesale and have full point of sale functionality as it ties into the store that they're running it on, we do that really well. And there's not a lot of others out on the market who have really tried to tackle point of sale. And we're looking to expand in this functionality in tandem with Shopify, as they've really put a push behind retail and point of sale. We've tried to be at the vanguard of that.
Excellent. So we are nearing the end of the show. Do you have any closing comments or any takeaways that you would like to leave with our listeners today?
Yeah, if you're examining wholesale and you're looking at it more seriously, you're probably closer to a mid-market stage than a really early e-commerce store. So the first thing I'd say is give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulations, you found product market fit. Your store is growing, and you've made it through what is statistically the most difficult time with the highest failure rate. So now you're here. You have an opportunity to continue moving up market. You have the opportunity to explore wholesaling. And my take on it is, why not? Why not go B2B? Yes, it's more relationships that will require more time in certain areas. There's more face-to-face time required with maintaining these B2B relationships than a B2C relationship. But as we talked about earlier, they're just much more sustainable. You're getting a higher average order value. You're getting a much higher retention rate. You're getting an extension of your marketing efforts and other strategies like pricing. It's really a no-brainer. That being said, again, make sure that it's the right time for you to embark on this. It will require some additional effort and time, and it's something that you're going to have to look at and see if it fits with your supply chain management and how you handle inventory. If you are going to make accommodations for that, make sure that you've thought this through before embarking on it so that you don't end up with excess inventory. If you're at an earlier stage, I'd say focus on finding customers before you embark on this. If you've really built up that mass and you're very, strong and established mid-market, really work on optimizing your supply chain management and pricing. I'd say those are the two things for merchants at those two stages that are really going to be at the crux of if their wholesale pricing strategy is successful and what makes the difference between okay to good for those early stage merchants. And for those mid-market merchants, what's the difference between good to great?
So how can people learn more about the Wholesale Club app?
You can check us out on the Shopify App Store. If you search for Wholesale Club, it's the first thing that pops up. If you want more information beyond the app listing, we have a demo store and other things there. I'd say come check out our website at pixelunion.net. We have a bunch of other solutions there as well, which I won't get into too much, but apps and themes or services that could be a great fit for your business. But beyond that, to a specific wholesale context, there's just a lot of resources there that will help you really understand the functionality of the app, particularly in the more granular instances, if you're trying to figure out if it's something that you're interested in trialing. Speaking about trialing the app, one thing that we'd like to offer to all your listeners is when you install the app, we will give you a 30-day free trial instead of our usual 7-day free trial. Just email our support team and mention that you listen to the e-commerce Fastlane podcast, and we'll be happy to hook that up.
That's great. No, I know we talked just before recording, and I massively appreciate that because I think it's a great opportunity. So if you're in the mid-market, early stage with a little bit of traction behind you potentially, and you are willing to put in the work to build out your wholesale customer base, then Wholesale Club is a really compelling solution that I think you should try out. And having 30 days to use the solution, I think will really prove its ROI, and it'll give you an opportunity to be able to get it set up correctly and not be pressured. Have only 7 days to kind of get it all configured, but you have a full 30 days to get it set up and finding yourself, your first few customers and get used to the solution and kind of how it works. Remember, it does piggyback off the look and feel of your current live site. So the implementation is fairly straightforward other than setting up your different types of vendors and pricing levels and tiers, methods of payment, and a few things like that. But they kind of walk you through that whole install process when you add the app to your solution. But yeah, ping them directly through their chat service on their website, and then they'll make sure they upgrade the solution for you for 30 days. Well, thanks, Aidan. I really appreciate it. I've quite a learning. I mean, I say this almost every show. I joke about it, but I literally have scrambled multiple pages worth of content and things that I've learned along the way. It's just life of learning. And I think wholesale is a great opportunity for a lot of people. And I really appreciate you kind of sharing what Pixel Union is doing. And I'm glad you guys bought that solution and have really enhanced it now and are really helping people grow their B2B market now and their B2B business. So much appreciated for coming on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on here. Always happy to speak about our products and to speak about the market problems as a whole and let merchants know why we feel our products are best positioned to serve their needs. And yeah, we're honored to have you speak so highly about the app. You have great e-commerce expertise and you really know the field. So to hear those things from you, we'll take that as a sign that we're on the right direction.
Well, have yourself a great day, and thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. You too.
This episode was brought to you by OmniSend, makers of sophisticated omni-channel marketing automation tools for sales-driven Shopify brands that have outgrown generic email marketing platforms. Engage your customers and boost your e-commerce sales with dynamic emails, text messages, web push notifications, Facebook Messenger, and retargeting ads on Facebook and Google, all from one platform. Try OmniSend for free for 14 days. Check them out, ecommercefastlane.com/OmniSend, and use the coupon code FASTLANE when you sign up. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you, a loyal listener of eCommerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, launch, grow, and scale with Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.